So, on to Season 2 now, and a lot of things have changed going into this new season. Starting off with Steinman, Siri Lundqvist, Nina Holtz, Pascal Becker for their driver lineup. The team is looking to try and capitalize on a decent season last year, and to try and keep their advantage over the rest of the field. Will be a little harder for them to do that, as thanks to the changes for Season 2, development rates are now a thing, and their development rate is pretty bad. So they're going to have a bit of a tough time trying to make progress going forward. But that hasn't stopped Steinman before, and I don't think it'll stop them now. But we'll see. Rossini, on the other hand, their chief rivals, also don't have a great development rate, but it's better than what Steinman has. They keep the same lineup of Sarian, Wexler, and Jessica Cortelli as their reserve. Johan will be very pleased with this going into the new season. But can Rossini close the gap on Steinman and finally become a championship contender? Also, don't trip over yourselves this time, guys. You had way too many retirements last year. Fix that. Mainly by not putting your cars in the wall. Panther, however, the Infinity team, have Rick DeGraff and Zoe Sharp still, with Geronimo in the reserve, and they're looking to also try and become championship contenders. A bad development rate will not help that though. So these guys are going to have their work cut out for them to try and become a championship contender, or at least win races. Sharp won two, but that was mainly due to luck, and Rick DeGraff was seemingly nowhere most of the season. Windsor, though, will be an interesting team to see. A decent development rate will help. A decent development rate will help with that, and also signing Alexander McDowell from Draga Lamborghini, Harry Chapman, the defending world champion, and Javier Vasquez as well, provide a really solid driver lineup and also the potential to do very well this year. The question is, will Vasquez and Chapman get along, and can McDowell step up to the challenge of being a potential championship contender, or even just a podium finisher? Only time will tell with the Windsor team. Also, your tire strategy should probably be fixed. You should work on that, guys. Katano now. They've got a new lineup as well. Veteran Aki Lipinen takes the lead for the Japanese team, and alongside Dino Britt, the man from Miami, as he was so often called, is following suit alongside Aki. This team also has made some improvements over the offseason, and they're looking to try and finally catch up to the big three, maybe the big four or five, depending on how everything else goes. Drago, my former team, have Esteban Ribeiro after McDowell was poached from them. So that'll be interesting to see how Ribeiro does in a better car. Monica Martins, who's also still here and is fairly competent, will be interesting to see. Along with Carpintero still in the reserve slot. It'll be interesting to see if these guys can make a push to be the front of the midfield. As their chief rival, Scorpion BMW, have not really done much of anything of note. They've kept Schmidt and Gonzalez. They signed Jessica Monroe from Asia Pacific for some technical support, but other than that, they haven't really done anything of note. Kind of been invisible most of the season. And with points for the top 8, these guys need to actually perform a bit better to actually do something, because finishing 9th and 10th will not help you. So good luck, BMW. You're gonna need that. Ironheart, the underdogs of last season, but these guys came on strong in the second half of the season. Perifio Delon now goes from reserve driver to lead driver in the team, alongside Emma Taylor after Dino Britt's departure. The team have a lot of faith in the Mexican. Let's see if it pays off. With Daniela Perea providing a veteran experience alongside in the reserve role for the team. Ironheart looks to make improvements, and they definitely have the potential to do so this year. Can they capitalize? Especially when I'm hot on their heels in the Sakura Toyota cars. I've signed Lyle McGovern, Miko Tapio Yarko, and also Yvonne Pedford. Ironically, all three drivers were drivers I added. Asia Road Racing, or ART as they're often called now, have Bashir now in the lead slot. I know how good he is, so he's going to be interesting to see if he can lead this team forward, with Hammered and Casterly also waiting in the wings. I'm finding them to try to be the best of the back markers, or to see if either of us can escape from being at the back. It'll be interesting to see what happens here, so we'll find out soon enough if ART are legit, or if last season was a bit of a fluke. Boa and Spurza, the champions of Asia Pacific last year, now the rookies in WMC this year. It'll be interesting to see what happens with them, with Gustavo Costa leading the charge as the defending champion from Asia Pacific, and Nikolai Surikov after a year out, after being kicked out for DeGraff. Sauber, you are on fraud watch. These guys barely survived last season. They need to do a little bit better this year. Prasanni now leads the charge, which is an interesting decision in the drivers. They've signed Iker Vidal after he got kicked out of my team for wanting too much money, and Winston Margate as well. It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top, how the midfield and the back of the field spread out, and everything else in between. There's a lot of things that are shaken up as well. Points for the top 8 is one of them. Points for the top 8 is one of them, so that'll make things a little bit harder on everybody to score points without the fastest lap cheese. And also, the final round of the season is now at Yokohama, rather than the dirty, dusty, and desert-like conditions of Dubai. So, it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out going forward. As you can see with my car performance, it's middling at best, but we'll see. But with the dev rates helping most of the people outside the big 3, it'll be interesting to see if the field closes in on each other going forward. And as you can see, and also if you haven't noticed, this is post-commentary because my mic was muted when I was recording this, and I didn't have the save file to go back. I decided to be bold this season. I chose to go for 9th, along with my chairman's expectations. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting, or maybe it'll be more interesting or maybe it'll be more interesting. Who knows? 9th place is my expectation, so no pressure for me. But this is about a month and a half after this was originally recorded, so I know things that you don't. But you'll find out soon enough as Season 2 gets underway in the Sakura Toyota journey. Have fun!